We'll be starting with the first topic, that is internal reconstruction. Okay, I'll be following a particular order for class. This may be a chapter number 5 or 6 in your study material, ICAI. But I like to follow a particular pattern of things. So let's stick to the pattern that I've given, okay, for the class. Okay, have you heard about this term internal reconstruction before or first time? First time, easy, no? Whenever faculty asks, say first time, so that he'll not ask any more questions only. Yeah, there, full stop. Okay. So name itself is saying internal reconstruction. That means a company or an entity is trying to internally work out something. Yes. What are they trying to work out?
Profit and loss, debit balance in the balance sheet. So they are trying to that appearance of balance sheet, they're trying to change it.
What's your name, sir?
Are you sure?
Ayush is saying, sir, in balance sheet when P&L is there. That is saying specifically debit balance. That means he's saying it's a loss. Be aware. Okay. Okay. All right. So that company is trying to remove it off. He's saying one P&L they want to remove it off. That is internal reconstruction. Okay, fine. Another word you told was what, sir? They are trying to
Change that appearance of balance sheet.
they want to change the appearance of balance sheet. Okay, fair enough, sir. Okay. Reconstructing the company internally. Sabrish is smart. They say active voice, passive voice. No, whatever I said, they is saying the same thing. Okay, correct only. What happens is, let's take a small scenario. Excuse me. So you started a company. Initially, when you start a company, initially only you will make a profit. So now when we take our own example, now when we started the academy about 3-4 years ago, there were hardly few students. First time, no, when they saw our face cut and all, they'll be like, no one. They did not come literally. Okay. Now they felt that, okay, these guys are probably doing good. Now many people are enrolling. But first year around few years and all, no, we did not make profit. We made loss. Just because company is making loss in the initial years, will they sell off that company? Promoters will be like, this is not working out, dude. Let's sell it off and go. Will that happen like that? Or they'll keep putting their efforts? Zomato and Paytm. Zomato and all has a lot of funding. So it's okay. They'll not even bother about selling. Yeah. All right. I'm talking about small corporates, right? So initially when they start out, they will be making some losses. Just because they make a loss does not mean they will sell off the company. They'll try their best to revive the business. That is nothing but internal reconstruction. A company is making a loss. And internally, they're trying to find ways through which they can go from that loss-making situation to at least break-even point. Meaning no profit or no loss. Or at least to some profit. Internally, they're trying to work out some measures. Is the meaning okay? Fair enough. Internally working out making some changes, which whatever you are saying is absolutely right. So what changes will be made? In internal reconstruction, what the company will do is they'll approach the stakeholders. Sir, which word did I use? Stakeholders. I did not mention the word shareholder. I mentioned stakeholder. Shareholder means equity shareholders, preference shareholders. The owners of the company are known as shareholders. I'm referring to the term stakeholders. Stakeholder means anyone who has any transaction or interest with the company. Like shareholder, does he have any transaction with the company or interest in the company? Yes. So is shareholder a stakeholder? Yes. A creditor, is he a stakeholder? Yes, because he is transacting with the company. Is a debtor a stakeholder? Yes. Is employee a stakeholder? Yes. Government, is he interested in our business? Yes. So all the interested parties of a business, we refer to as stakeholders. In internal reconstruction, what we do is the company will approach the stakeholders and ask them to sacrifice a portion of their claims. Ask them to do some sacrifices. Like you have come to our class, we are asking you to sacrifice time, no? 5:30 to 9:30, we have locked you in a room. Okay. Like this, the company will try to approach them and ask them to do some sacrifices. Like let's say we have a bank loan. Company will approach bank and say, hey macha, I'm making some losses. But you know that I have a bright growth prospect. Due to COVID, due to few other economic conditions, currently I'm suffering a loss. Please help me out. Like currently you're charging me an interest rate of 12%. Reduce it to 10%. Give me some additional loan. Let me use that and revive my business. You can approach creditor and say, forego a portion of your claim. I have to pay you, let's say I have to pay creditor 1 lakh rupees. You go to a creditor and say, sacrifice about 20 or 30%. Let's say 30%. How much is 30% of 1 lakh, sir? 30,000. Sacrifice 30,000 now. That means how much I'm ready to pay him now? 70,000. What I'll tell the creditor? Sacrifice now. In future, I will buy more goods from you. Okay? So I will compensate him. Is that okay? Like this, we will approach the stakeholders and ask them to make a sacrifice, or we'll get into something known as compromise arrangements with our stakeholders. So don't worry about sir, why will they agree? Subject is what? Subject is what? Accounting, meaning financial accounting, not management accounting. Why will anybody agree and all? We'll study in management accounting. All that, no, board of directors are able to convince the stakeholders. They are ready to sacrifice. All you have to do in this particular chapter is, for that sacrificed portion, you need to pass some journal entries. That's all. Like in 11th standard PUC, first PUC as we call it, you used to pass journal entry, no? That was a basic topic. Same component here. They will give you a certain transactions for which you need to pass journal entries. After journal entry, you may be required to prepare a balance sheet. That's all is the scope of this particular topic. An easy one according to me, but forget about what I feel. What you feel is more important. Let's see how you feel about it. Did you get an idea about or the meaning of internal reconstruction now? Okay, let's go one step back. Let's revive that. What is that? Internal reconstruction means the company will approach whom? The stakeholders, and ask the stakeholders to do what? Sacrifice a portion of their claim. It could be 10%, 20%, 80%, whatever. A portion will be asked to sacrifice. If they have sacrificed, okay, how should we account for that sacrifice is all we're going to be studying in this particular topic. This is okay? All right, that's all is the meaning of internal reconstruction. So internal reconstruction will be mostly applicable for the loss-making company. 99% of the cases, it will be a loss-making one. Okay.
The due date of loan is first April.
Mm-hmm.
It is telling that pay me first April of the next year. So will it be considered as internal reconstruction?
Just for one transaction, no. You'll see. Once you repeat yourself, ask yourself that question which you asked me once I've done with this topic. Okay. Just for one transaction, if you ask someone to sacrifice, that automatically does not become an internal reconstruction. There has to be a certain series of measures. It's a company. So all you need to, conduct a meeting. Meeting you should pass a resolution. So there are many transactions. Just one transaction, it's a collation or combination of events that will lead to internal reconstruction. Is that okay? Anything else? No? Okay. So what I'll do is, for a few topics, right, I will give you some short notes. Like in the internal reconstruction, we may be doing about 15 or 16 questions. On the last day, can you revise the entire 15 questions? No. So one, to revise, you have what? Chart book. So how do we solve the question? To solve the question, we will require few things, right? That I will give you in some more short notes over here in the class. I'll dictate that. Make sure the first page, 1 or 2 pages for each chapter, you leave it blank. I may give some important pointers for the topic. Not necessary for all of them, because some of them will be repeated in chart book also. Okay. So let's write it down. After, those contents will have an idea as to how to solve the questions. If you don't have time to solve the questions in the examination day, you can just run through those pointer, more or less and along with that chart book, if you go through, the chapter is done for. Okay. So let's write some pointers for it and then dive into the particular problem. And I'll not repeat this every time about the important pointers. 1 or 2 pages for every topic, you leave it. If required, I'll dictate it. Otherwise, not necessary. Okay, can I start? Okay, first point. In internal reconstruction, company will approach stakeholders and ask them to sacrifice a portion of their claims. Ask them to sacrifice a portion of their claims. Purposely, I am writing a little faster. You know the intention already. I've told you, writing speed has to improve. Okay, consciously you also write a little faster. Doesn't matter if your writing is getting a little gibberish. That's okay. Speed is very important. So try to catch up with me on that. Okay. So this is the first point. Sacrificed portion goes to an account called capital reduction, or also known as reconstruction account. Sacrificed portion goes to an account called capital reduction, or also known as reconstruction account. Some books will also refer to this as reorganization account also. Some old books. Different names, but things are same. Write off the following using capital reduction account. For class purpose, we'll be using capital reduction to solve the problems. Okay. In some books, if you see reconstruction or reorganization, don't worry. In our study material, one problem they'll use capital reduction. In few other problems, they may use reconstruction. For simplicity, I'm sticking to one, that is what? Capital reduction. We write off the following using capital reduction account. If there is enough balance. If there is enough balance. 1. Preliminary expense / deferred revenue expense, if you have any. Preliminary expense, deferred revenue expense. P&L account in bracket, debit. I think that's okay. Next point. If any liability is not accounted, and that is sacrificed, or that liability is sacrificed, then no journal entry is required. If any liability is not accounted and that liability is sacrificed, then no journal entry is required. Any balance, or one moment, give the heading as journal entry. Now that you can make, if you want, we can make 2 partitions. For expense, for income. Journal entry for expense and some income. For expense, the journal entry will be capital reduction account or reconstruction account, debit to cash or bank account. Capital reduction account, debit to cash or bank account. For income, it will be ulta, cash or bank account debit to capital reduction account. Okay. All right. The next one. Any balance remaining in capital reduction account, will be transferred to capital reserve account. Any balance remaining in capital reduction account will be transferred to capital reserve account. All right. I know majority of them you would have not got. All these are some points which we will apply in the problems. Okay. So once we solve the problem, probably you'll get more understanding for each of them. Okay. For now, let it be on hold. Have you updated your notes about this? Okay. So those of you have done, come to question number 9 in your, if you have the notebook with you, you can refer question number 9. If you have the book. Okay. If you don't have it also, it's okay. You can just check the screen. I'll pop it for you. All right. Let's go ahead and learn it in one of the questions. So what about 1 to 8? 1 to 8 we'll do it later. So first we will take up question number 9. Maybe we'll take 10th one. We'll start with 10th one. That is a lucky one. Okay. Lucky number 2. Question number 10. Show the first point. Somebody is coming in late and asking the points, huh? Yoshiraj. Fatafat copy, sir. Huh? 4th point. Now one by one they're telling. Huh? Okay. Okay, those of you are done. Go through question number 10. All right. One question, carefully be with me. One question, if you properly understand, no, I would say 70% of the topic is done. Because everything is same over here. Just a new transaction with more or less the same things. So one question, carefully understand, then we'll see. The following scheme of reconstruction has been approved for When Limited. When Limited is probably making some losses. So they are making some what arrangement? Sacrifice or compromise arrangement with their stakeholders. So whom and all has agreed for the sacrifice? Let's understand. The shareholders to receive in lieu of their present holding. In lieu simply means instead. Meaning instead of their current holdings, they will receive something else. They're saying whatever we have, we don't want, we need something else. That's what they're saying. The shareholders in lieu of their present holdings at 1 lakh shares of 10 each. Sir, how many shares has been issued to the shareholders? 1 lakh, and each share ka face value is 10. That means what is the worth of this share, sir? 1 lakh into 10, that's about 10 lakh rupees. Great. So instead of this 10 lakh worth of share, they want something else. So far good. What else they require? One, they need new fully paid rupees 10 equity shares. That means the face value. They need new. That means this is a new share, and this new share ka face value is 10 rupees, equal to what? 3/5 of their holding. Sir, how much are they holding currently? 1 lakh shares. Their worth is how much? 1 lakh into 10. That's about the worth of that 1 lakh share is about 10 lakh. For now, they're saying new shares I will, or old shares I will sacrifice. You give me what? New shares. To full 10 lakh extent? No. Only to the extent of what? 3/5. Existing holding ka 3/5 they are saying you give me, I'm happy with that. Is that okay? So how much does this work out to? About 6 lakh rupees. So instead of 10 lakh worth of old shares, okay, the shareholders want, give us the new shares worth only about 6 lakhs. That means 4 lakh they have sacrificed. Let's read it and then reconfirm. Okay. 10% preference shares. Oh, this equity shareholders are chalu. They're saying old equity shares, we will give it to you. Instead of that, you give us new equity shares, plus you give me new preference shares. How many, what percentage preference shares? 10%. 10% simply signifies what? The dividend that you pay on the preference shares, right? 10% preference shares means on these preference shares, company will pay a dividend at the rate of 10%. How much? 10% preference shares fully paid to the extent of 1/5 of the above new equity shares. Not original equity shares. To the extent of 1/5 of what? the new equity shares. What is new equity shares ka worth, sir? 6 lakh. Of this, they want 1/5. So that's about 1.2 lakhs, about 20%. That's all. So instead of saying we are giving 1,20,000 worth of preference shares, they have phrased the sentences like this. So far comfortable? Any confusions in terms of the value, in terms of reading, anyone? Any confusion, sir? Last? No. Also, they want 3 things they want, sir. 1, new shares, new equity shares, new preference shares. Also, rupees 40,000. Did they say just 40,000 or rupees 40,000? So rupee 40,000 means that 40,000 is what? Debentures, right? It is a number of debentures, so the worth or the value of the debenture. Value of the debentures. Because they said clearly rupees. If they had not given rupees, then we had to probably take that 40,000 as the number of debentures given. Is that okay? Here clearly mentioned that the worth of this debenture is 40,000 and these debentures carry about 8%. Meaning on this debentures, company will pay interest at the rate of 8%. So check, sir, what and all you give. You gave 6 lakh worth of new shares, 1.2 lakh worth of preference shares, plus 40 worth of debentures. So 7.2, 7.6 is what you totally gave. But what was their current original holding? Instead of 10 lakh, you are giving them various things. But those things ka worth is only 7.6. Means indirectly, what is that 10 lakh minus 7.6? 2,40,000 Tirupati toss. Meaning they are ready to sacrifice. That sacrificed element here, no? You park it in a dummy. The name of that dummy is capital reduction account. That is what I've written in the second point. Now is the second point okay for you? Like this, problem wise, we'll keep and knocking off. Is that okay? Time being, you will park it in an account known as capital reduction. Till the reconstruction gets over, you will park it in reconstruction account or capital reduction account. After that, we'll have to do something which we'll see it later. Is this fine? Okay, let's come back now. Which question? Yeah, the same one. Okay, let's go over once, read the whole question, then figure out the things. An issue of, or you want adjustment by adjustment journal entry. How are you comfortable? Total read once and then do it again, or adjustment by adjustment? Total is good, they're saying. Okay, no problem. An issue of rupees 1 lakh. I mean, that 1 lakh is a number or the worth? Worth. 10% first debentures was made. So the company has issued some new debentures. The worth of that debenture is how much? 1 lakh. And allotted was made and allotted, meaning the company has issued the debentures. The people have subscribed for it. So allotment is also made. The payment for the same is being received in cash forthwith, meaning you have received money also. Simply they're saying the company issued some debentures and they received some cash. What is the journal entry for debentures issued? Cash or bank account debit to first 10% first debentures account. Or you can also write cash or bank account debit to debenture application and allotment account. And then debenture application and allotment account debit to 10% first debentures. Like the way you used to do it in CA Foundation or your 11th. But here I suggest you can pass one entry, bank to directly debentures. That is good enough at Inter level. Fine. Simple entry. So where is the sacrifice here? Every time there will not be sacrifice. See, if you want to revive the business, you will need some additional money. That additional money is raised in the form of debentures. Okay, that's all it is. So that's pretty straightforward entry. Okay. Goodwill, which stood at 1,40,000 rupees, was completely written off. So first of all, it's a loss-making company who's going for internal reconstruction. Do you think that goodwill and other intangible assets will have some value, or these are worthless assets? That's what sir meant before. He said, he actually used a little raw words, but the meaning was clear. He said, we are trying to do some alterations to the balance sheet. This is what we mean by that. Alteration does not mean we are purposely trying to hide something. Loss-making companies, generally they don't show their assets and liability at the correct value. Most probably assets will be overstated or overvalued. By internal reconstruction, we are trying to get the assets to their correct value. So if any asset is worthless, is it required to be shown? All that needs to be written off. That's what he meant. So internal reconstruction, some people also say it's a balance sheet cleanup act. Simply you're trying to clean up your assets and liabilities. Meaning try to show them at their correct values. So far okay? Anyone? Any problems? Okay. Sir, goodwill is an asset. Assets will have what balance? Debit balance. How do you write off means, the word write off in accounts means what? Cancel. Write off simply means you need to cancel. Here what are we cancelling? Goodwill. Goodwill is an asset. Asset have debit balance. How do you cancel in something which has debit? Credit. So that means you will write to goodwill account. That means you have to debit something, no? For that we will use our dummy capital reduction. So simple journal entry is capital reduction to. Got the entries? Any problems? No. Plant and machinery which stood at 2 lakh rupees. Meaning in the books currently you are showing the asset at 2 lakh rupees. Was written down. Carefully watch out the words. It is not written down by. It is written down to. This is very important. Sometimes they use the word to. Sometimes they use the word by. It makes a huge difference in English. Written down to means from 2 lakh you are bringing it down to 150. Meaning its value is not 2 lakh. Its value is only 1 lakh 50. That means unnecessarily the asset is increased by how much? Instead of 150, currently it is shown at 2 lakh. Means how much we need to bring it down by, or how much we need to reduce it? 50,000. Comfortable? Yes, sir. So what is the journal entry for this? You tell me. Capital reduction account debit to plant and machinery 50,000 rupees. Is that okay? Once you pass the entry from 2 lakh, the plant and machinery will become 150. So why will it become? Because maybe the worth of the asset is only 150. That's the reason we are trying to do it. Okay. Any problems? First problem, any doubts? Please sort it out, because in next number of examination question, here you have how many adjustments? 5. In an examination question, you may have 12 or 13 adjustments. More or less the same thing. Okay. Similar line. So any doubt, please sort it out. How 50,000? Currently the value is 150. No? Yeah. You are no. It's saying here plant and machinery which stood at what value? 2 lakh. That means currently you are showing in your books the plant and machinery at. No, currently you are showing it at 2 lakh. From 2 lakh you have to bring it down to 150. From 2 you have to get it down to 150. So you have to reduce it by 50,000 like that. That is the reason there is a 50,000 reduction. Freehold property. AS10. Not now. Okay, that's a different concept. Okay, we'll come to accounting standard 10. In fact, we have done it in group 1. Noda. This is not that. Okay. Moreover, you can use the revaluation surplus only if revaluation surplus has a balance. Are you 100% sure this account has a balance? I'll use not accounting standard. You are applying accounting standard ka funda. 10 ka funda. Here, what is the topic name? Internal reconstruction. In internal reconstruction, every adjustment will be done with the help of our dummy. What is our dummy? Capital reduction. Okay, why? Sir, P&L account has what balance? Debit balance. That to be our cancel. With the help of what? Capital reduction. So hence all the adjustments here will be done with the help of capital reduction. No other account. Is that okay? No revaluation, no P&L, no blah 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 blah. Everything only one and one God. Capital reduction. That's all. Okay, freehold property which stood at 150 was written down by 50,000. That means here what? From 150 you are getting it down to 50 or you are reducing it by 50? Meaning probably nahi, the value of that freehold property is only 1 lakh. But currently you are showing it at 150. So from 150 you have to get it down to 1 lakh means there is a reduction of 50,000. For which the entry will be same, which is capital reduction to freehold property 50. That's all. Somebody is saying, so that 50,000 could be depreciation also. Internal reconstruction, they're saying written down. Okay. So all this is an overvalue of assets which we are bringing it down. No, it's not a depre. Okay. Don't assume depre and all, 100% will lose marks. Okay. All right. Depreciation is already charged. With that assumption, we go ahead and internal reconstruction. You are required to drop necessary journal entries in the books of Win Limited. Suitable narrations to journal entry should form part of your answer. Sir, whether they tell narration or not, journal entry means there has to be a narration. If in the examination, if they mention clearly narration not required, then skip it. Otherwise, make sure you write the narration. Okay. I'll not do it in every case because narration is comfortable, right? Most of some problems I'll do. Just below it, don't tell me. You didn't do, so I also didn't do an exam. Okay. So that's the reason I'm giving upfront disclosure now. because I want to cover, my funda is simple, not that I'm lazy. I want to cover maximum number of questions in as the least time as possible. First of all, I know that you guys have a hectic schedule and stuff, so I don't want to take 170. Actually, the amount of syllabus that I'm planning to cover now, generally it takes about 180 to 190 hours, because it's not easy to cover RTP, MTP, study material, previous year paper, everything within that time. Okay, so that means I will be working on few methodologies to bring that time. So that's the reason maybe skipping few narrations and all. Like these are the ways in which I want to make sure that you are comfortable with almost every type of problem. Small little things like this you can take care of. Yes, no, 1 or 2 problems if I show, rest you can build it upon, right? The solution is any which way given to you. So can we go ahead and pass the journal entry? For the lazy folks, solution is here. And those who wants to write are free to do so. Okay. All right. So we'll do it here only. This is question number. No, it's okay. It's not a compulsion. Just because I said lazy, don't feel that my ego is hurt and start writing it. It's okay. All right. Look at your comfort zone, because some of them, right? Because each student has their own level of picking up things. Some may get the things like this only. I say 1%, they'll catch up with the remaining 99%. So if you feel, no, I got it already. So you can just look at the solution, write some points next to this journal entry. Like that approach also you can follow. See what you kind of how you are connecting with a particular question. Based on that, you take a call. Is that okay? As much as possible, I'll keep solving here. Okay. First, journal entries in whose books? Journal entries in the books of Win. Unfortunately, they're losing. Name is Win though. Probably RCB, yeah, sir. Till now we liked you. Because of one sentence we start hating you. Not. Isala cup namde. Okay. First journal entry. Alright, what is the first journal entry, pa? Shareholders, in lieu of their present holdings, will receive something. So equity, sir, if they don't mention which shareholder it is, company will compulsorily have which shares? Equity shares. So if they talk about preference shares, you use preference share capital. Here, have they told which shareholder is ready to sacrifice all that? They have not mentioned. So we'll take it as equity share holder only. This is okay? Okay, listen to me this. Equity shareholder, right? He's saying, I don't want my present shares of how much? 10 lakh. How 10 lakh? 1 lakh shares of 10 each. Instead of this old share whose worth is 10 lakh, he wants new things. Okay? That means will the old share capital or old shares be there, or it will get cancelled? Cancelled. So if a company has issued equity shares, means will they show equity share account, or will the company show it as equity share capital account? Equity share capital. Yes. Equity share capital will have a debit balance or credit balance? Credit balance. How do you cancel something which has credit balance? Debit. So that means the first journal entry will be equity share capital account debit. How many shares you had? 1 lakh. Each ka face value 10. So the total worth of that share is 10 lakh rupees. Somebody is asking, sir, format is required. In foundation, we used to write date, particulars, ledger folio, debit, credit. Inter, not required. Okay, first of all, finishing the existing working note within the time only is a big problem. So don't worry about that date, particulars, ledger folio, that folio, this folio. Leave all that folio out. Just directly start with your entries. Okay, so this is done. So old shares will get cancelled. So we have debited it. Instead of that, what did you give them? We gave some new shares. If company is given new shares, means for the company it is what? Equity share capital. Equity share capital, what balance it will have? Credit balance. Since they've issued a new shares, what should I credit, sir? I should credit equity share capital account. It's like a barter system. Old shares I cancelled, uske badle mein I gave, or instead of that I gave new shares. That is the reason old equity share capital I am debiting, new equity share capital I am crediting. Okay, I gave new shares worth 10 lakh. I gave new shares only to the extent of 3/5 of their holding. Currently they are holding 10 lakh, and we are giving new shares only to the extent of 3/5. So that will be about 6 lakh rupees. Guys, again, L, K and all, doesn't work in examination. Write full form. Okay, for class it's okay, L, K, all that class work it's fine. Examination, please don't do that. That's all I gave, or two other things also. Two other things. I also gave them preference shares and I also gave them some debentures. Sir, if a company has issued a preference shares, that it's a preference share capital for that company. Preference share capital should be debited or credited? Credited. What percentage preference shares did you issue? So that means I should credit to 10% preference share capital account. To what extent did I give preference shares? To the extent of 1/5 of the above new equity shares. New equity shares is only worth 6 lakh. To the extent of 1/5, I give new preference shares, which is 1,20,000. That's all, or one more. We also gave some debentures. What percent debentures? 8%. So that means I should credit again to 8% debentures account. They only gave the value which is 40,000. If you check the journal entry, the journal is not matching. There is a balancing figure. How much is that balancing figure? 2,40,000 or 260? 2,40,000. That balance is nothing but the amount sacrificed by the equity shareholders. That will be parked in a dummy known as capital reduction account. This you can simply arrive it as a balancing figure. That's all. It's a first journal entry all about. Hope there's no confusion for anyone here. Okay, people? Online also? Online is full mauna, so probably they're writing. Okay, no issues. So narration, as I said, you can copy one. You can copy here. What you can simply say is being shares, or maybe I'll write down one. I'll write down. You copy. Being amount compromised by or amount sacrificed by who? Being amount sacrificed by equity shareholders. Being amount sacrificed by equity shareholders accounted. This is important. In every narration, this should come as per approved scheme of approved scheme of reconstruction. Normally, this reconstruction scheme and all will have a date also, because all this is backed by a resolution. So you can write approved scheme of reconstruction dated ... or you can stop at approved scheme of reconstruction. That is okay. See, it's a company, no? You can't do the business just like that. One fine morning, you decide to do reconstruction. Does it work like that? Today, I came to ArivuPro and said, let's do reconstruction. Anyway, I'm teaching internal reconstruction. Let's implement internal reconstruction. Does it work like that? It's a company means you have to organize a meeting. Okay, you have to probably conduct a board meeting. Call all the directors. Make sure that all the directors agree to this. Then probably conduct an AGM and get shareholders ka approval as well. So all that will have a scheme, meaning it will have a resolution. A resolution will have a number as well as a date. Generally, those dates and numbers will not be given to you, so you can leave it blank. Or you can simply stop it at approved scheme of reconstruction. That is okay. Let this words come in your narration. If you have about 10, I would suggest 10 scenario transaction if they give me. At least for, if you don't have time, 3-4 entries may you bring in this extra fitting. What is the extra fitting? Approved scheme of reconstruction. If you have time, write it in everything. If you don't have time, means at least 3 or 4 entries may insert this. Other words in narration, you can write it as per your own vocabulary. Okay. Whatever comes to you, you can copy the same scenario. That's absolutely fine. Only this is the extra jugaad or fitting. Can I move on to the next set of things now? Sir, can we split the entries? No, don't split the entries over here. Since it's like a barter system, make sure that you write it like this one. Because what is happening here is old shares are getting cancelled. Instead of old shares, you are giving a new shares. So old share capital should be debited and new share capital should be credited. You can split the entry and get the same effect. My suggestion is please don't do that. Pass it like the way I've shown. Because it's clearly a barter system. Because if you split, you have to pass the entry as equity share capital account debit to capital reduction 10 lakh, 10 lakh. Then again capital reduction account debit to all these. It will bring in a lot of complexities. Neither will you understand, nor will the examiner also. They'll kind of freak out. Do make sure that all the guys who are correcting your papers are chartered accountants, but they are not accounting teachers. They are only chartered accountants. Okay. Do you remember what you studied in 7th standard? 8th standard? BCom 3rd year at least? BCom to, oh, not a chance. No, BCom full calm we were. Yeah, we were fully calm. Same thing happens, with everyone. See, I'm an accounts teacher, so I will remember all these concepts. But a chartered accountant who has cleared his paper 10 years ago, 15 years ago, will he remember every bit of things that we are remembering? What he does, he will be given a suggested answers. He'll simply check that and awarded the marks. So if you deviate too much, okay, from your suggested answers of ICI, you might land up in trouble. Extra knowledge is good, but sometimes in order to show off, it may cause some problems to us only. So let's not do that. Okay, some areas study material solution is not that good, especially working notes and all. One problem they'll do it in different way. That I will tell you the easy way. That is fine because they only check the final answer. Okay, so journal entries and all, don't do your own thing. That will probably land you up in trouble. So let's not go there. Okay, sir, is it compulsory to write in bracket the calculation? This and better to show. No? Show what is that? Anyway, you're calculating. As much as possible, give the information to the examiner so that impression will be set. Okay. All right. So first scenario is done. Second one, an issue of 1 lakh or rupees 1 lakh, 10% first debentures was made and the money is also received. So the company simply received some debentures and got the money. What is the journal entry for this, guys? Bank account debit. How much was that amount? 1 lakh. They said rupees 1 lakh. So that means the total value of the debenture is 1 lakh. What percentage debentures are these? 10% first debentures. How much is that? Same 1. Narration, you tell me, let's see. Being first debentures issued as per approved scheme of reconstruction. You can stop that or you can write dated ... That is also okay. That much can you manage on? Yeah. All right. So what is this first debentures? First debentures means all these debentures, no? When you take a bank loan, today you went to ICICI Bank and said, hey, macha manager, give me 10 lakh rupees loan. He'll straight away give you 10 lakh. What he'll ask you? What is the guarantee? What can you pledge? Or what you can keep with me? Some documents you pledge, yes or no? That's what first debentures means. When the company is issuing debentures, no? Some assets of the company will give it as guarantee. That assets, no? Who has the right? Debenture holders. First debentures means those debentures will have first priority or first right. Second debentures means once first debentures are settled, then second debentures will have the priority. Like it's just an order of priority. This first, second, blah blah. This is okay. That's all that means. Move forward. Narration you can take care, I believe. Yeah. What's that? Narration tell being debentures issued. I have to write just tell. Being debentures issued as per approved scheme of reconstruction. That's all. Whatever in your own words, write. Okay, what is the next one? Goodwill, which stood at 1,40,000, was completely written off. Goodwill is an asset which we need to write off, means we already discussed the entry. What is it? Capital reduction account debit to goodwill. Goodwill has debit balance. To cancel, we are crediting. How much was the balance of goodwill we are cancelling? 1,40,000. Can we do a compound entry? Because are we cancelling only goodwill or some machinery and property also are we cancelling? Or are we writing it down? Yes. That means you can do a single journal entry or you can combine them. Combination will save you some time in examination. So I prefer compound entry. Can we do so? Okay. So the goodwill cancellation, this is the entry. Anything else we are cancelling? We are not cancelling, but we are reducing some asset ka value. Plant and machinery currently shown at 2 lakh, but it was written down to how much? 150. That means from 2 lakh, you have to bring it down to 150. How much is the reduction in value? 50,000. So plant and machinery again is an asset. Assets will have debit balance to reduce, we have to credit. So value is 2 lakh minus 1,50,000, meaning basically you write to plant and machinery 2 lakh minus 1,50,000. So the reduction in value is 50,000 rupees. Forward march. Anything else? There is a freehold property which is currently shown in books at 150. It is written down by. By means you are obviously you're reducing it to the extent of how much? 50,000. Freehold property is also an asset which has a debit balance. To reduce, obviously we need to credit. To freehold property, they only given the reduction in amount which is 50. That means if you sum up these two, 140 to 190, 240. So capital reduction, you will debit to the extent of 2,40,000. If you don't like it, pass the simple journal entry. Meaning capital reduction to goodwill, capital reduction to plant and machinery, capital reduction to freehold property in an individual basis. Narration will be being assets written off. That's all. Yeah, same thing. Whatever, if you want to write reduced also, it's okay. Being assets written off as per approved scheme of reconstruction. Date and all will not be given, so it's okay. You can stop it at approved scheme of reconstruction. That's all. You're able to make out my handwriting, huh? Yes, sir. It will not improve. You will get used to it. Huh? Sorry, sir. It is super, huh? Hey, thanks, sir. Full butter is putting. Still, class will end on same time. Butter will not work. Okay? Yeah. He asked for more break. See, that also unfortunately will not work. Actually, he doesn't want. He wants it. But go in. Okay, we'll see. Yeah. So that means all the components done. All right. So check. Do a quick math. Is there any balance in capital reduction account? Let's one by do a check. Capital reduction account. Initially, you credited by how much? 240. That means it currently has what balance? Credit balance of 240 because you credited it by 240. Then check. You debited it by 240. Is there any balance remaining in capital reduction? 240 debit, 240 credit. That means it will get nullified. Check the last point what I've written here in the important points. What I've said. Leave this and all. Check here. Any balance remaining in capital reduction account will be transferred to this. They will not tell in the problem. This you are expected to do. Sir, why not to P&L? Why to capital reserve? Not necessarily. How often do you do this capital reduction? Every day? Is it a recurring or a non-recurring item? Once in a day or once in a blue moon or recurring activity? Once in a blue moon. Yeah, rare activity. That means this is a revenue profit or a capital profit. Capital profit. All capital profit should be transferred where? To capital reserves. That is the reason balance in capital reduction account, we transfer it off to capital reserve. In this problem, is that required? No, because capital reduction has zero balance. If it has some balance, you'll transfer it off to capital reserve. So that means these 2 points can I tick off? Other things will come, other problems. Any confusions, anyone? No. Okay. That means what? Break, huh? No. Question number 9. Break and all too early, no? We just started the class 15 minutes ago. What do you need a break? Yes, no. You still have another maybe 1.5 hours, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours before the break, correct? No. You go on telling, sir. We will walk out. We will not tell you. Okay, come to question number 9. I'll give you a break. Don't worry. Sir, is it an AS to use capital reserve? No, it's not an accounting standard. All capital profits go off to capital reserve. Like in your 11th standard on share forfeiture. Share forfeiture ka balance where did you transfer? The capital reserve because it was a capital profit. Same thing goes here also. It's a capital profit to be transferred off to capital reserve. Okay, 9th one. All right. If you don't have the books, kindly make sure that you print these books, okay, on your own or get it ordered from here. Books, because books are important for accounts, especially because there are a lot of data, right? So make sure that you keep that. Or for the time being, you can also refer to the study material, because all these questions are there in your study material only. So only study material is sufficient. No, as I told you, our material will not only consist of study material, it consists of RTPs and other things also. So ideally, I would say get our material printed either on your own or through us. Anyway, PDF copy is shared with you. Choice is yours. But make sure that you have some copy so that it will help. Excuse me. Parth Limited had laid down the following terms upon the sanction of reconstruction plan by the court. Okay, so there's some reconstruction scheme going on. Furniture and fixtures which stood in the books, meaning currently we are showing the furniture in the books at 150. It is to be written down, not by. It is written down to how much? 95,000. Meaning from 150 value has to be brought down or it has to become 95. So from 150, if you have to bring it down to 95 means, can I say the reduction is 55,000? 55,000, you have to reduce the value of furniture. Easy. You know the entry already. What is the journal entry? Capital reduction to. Now, can we do adjustment by adjustment or read it fully? Each adjustments are different. There is no interconnection. That's the beauty of internal reconstruction. In other topics, no, I will not even bother asking you this question because adjustment number 1 will have a connection with adjustment number 10 or 7 or whatever. But here, each one is a separate component. So the moment you see it, more or less you can pass the entries. Is that okay? Can we do it off or you want me to still read it once though? Read. What is there? Okay. All right, don't scold. The freehold premises. Sir, freehold means what? You have not given this premises or this property for any surety. The documents you only have. You have not pledged this or given this documents to any banker or anyone else. That's what freehold property simply means. It is valued at what? 7 lakh. It showed an appreciation of 55,000. So internal reconstruction, the value is asset is increasing. Internal reconstruction simply means show the assets and liability at the correct value. Generally, many of the assets will have a reduction, but there could be some assets which could have seen the increase also. Okay, especially land and all. No, you might be showing them at historical cost, but currently maybe you want to show it at market price. There could be a difference between the day you bought it and its current market price, right? So here there is a premises appreciation by how much? 55,000. So again, premises means assets. Assets have debit balance. Here you are increasing or you are decreasing? Increasing. How do you increase something which has debit? Again debit. So the journal entry will be freehold premises account debit. How much? 55,000. Credit will be given to our dummy, that is capital reduction. Thinking it's good? Okay. Plant and machinery which showed a fall in value of 99,000. Meaning a plant and machinery has decreased in value to the extent of how much? 89,000 to be recorded in books. I saying reduce plant and machinery ka value by 89. Entry is capital reduction to plant and machinery 89,000. Either you can pass separate entries or all those assets which are reducing in value, you can combine them and pass a compound journal entry. That is also acceptable based on your comfort zone. Investment at rupees 2 lakh, meaning you're showing in the books at 2 lakh. It was brought down to the existing market value of 1 lakh 5. Currently you're showing it at 2 lakh, but its value is only 105. Has it suffered any reduction or any increase? Reduction. How much reduction? 95. So 95,000 investment ka value you need to reduce. Entry is still capital reduction to investment 95,000. Debenture holders accepted to receive the following in lieu of their present 9% debentures of rupees 2,50,000. In the last problem, it was equity shareholders had this arrangement. In this problem, who's ready to accept all this? Debentures. And that debenture holders are having debentures, are having 9% debentures whose value is 2,50,000. They're simply saying old debentures you take off. I don't want them. Instead of that, you give me three things. What is the first thing? 1/5 of the total to be paid in cash. So how much is the total value of debentures, sir? 2,50,000. They don't want total amount of this. They want 1/5 of this in cash. That means they're saying simply 50,000 you give me in the form of cash immediately. Out of this 250, settle me 50,000 immediately. And they'll take over land and building valued at 72,000. Sir, if you give cash to the debentures, the journal, if you give cash to the creditors, what is the journal entry? Creditors to cash. Did you give cash here or what did you give them? Land and building. If you give land and building, the journal entry will be, instead of saying creditors to cash, it will become creditors to land and building. That's all. Whatever you give, credit that. Or if you want it, land and building is a real account. Real account ka rule is debit what? Comes in. Credit what? Goes out. Land and building is coming in or going out. So credit it. That's all. Okay. To forego the remaining unpaid portion as a policy of reconstruction. Whatever balance is still remaining, they're saying, put it in Tirupati Hundi, meaning I am ready to sacrifice. That's all. That we will calculate. Leave that. Oh, in fact, yeah. You can calculate also. No? 50 you gave in the form of cash. 72 you gave in the form of buildings. That means totally you gave them only 1,22,000. Yes, no? 72. 122 you gave, but you had to pay them how much? 250. So that means 128 they have sacrificed. You can obviously get this as a balancing figure. For simplicity, we have just calculated. That goes off to capital reduction account. Write off P&L account debit balance of 70,000. We'll come to that, which had accumulated over the years. It's a reconstruction company, no? So that means obviously it will be a loss making. Since many years they made a loss, and currently the total loss balance is standing at 70,000. That they're asking you to write off. Write off simply means cancel. Sir, loss means, listen to this carefully and answer me this. Loss means your P&L account will have a debit balance or credit balance.
Debit balance.
Loss means your P&L will have debit or credit balance.
Debit balance.
Debit balance. 100% sure?
Yes, sir.
Or if you are having any problems. Sir, how do you get profit? Income minus expense. Yes, no? Yes, sir. Okay. Let's say income is 80 rupees. Expense is 100 rupees. So you're getting a profit or loss over here? Loss over here. Okay, or maybe I'll prove it for profit only. That will be easier to connect. Let's say income is 100, expense is 80. So that means you are getting what? A profit of 20. Yes or no? As per nominal account rule, what does it say for all expense and losses are relating to nominal accounts, right? Nominal account rule says what? All income and losses you should be crediting. Expenses and loss you should be debiting. To get profit, your income should be greater than your expenses. Yes or no? Only if income is more than expense, then only you'll end up with profit. That means profit means it will always have a credit balance because incomes as such have a credit balance. This is okay. That means loss will obviously have a ulta scenario which will have a debit balance. Okay, is everyone? Here we are having a debit balance. That means this P&L is a profit or it's a loss. P&L is having a debit balance of 70,000 which they are asking us to write off. Meaning we have to cancel. So how do we cancel something which has debit balance? Credited. Using which account you do all this transaction in internal reconstruction? Capital reduction. So the entry will be capital reduction account debit to P&L account 70,000. That's all. So why should we write off P&L? Sir, you're doing internal reconstruction with what aim? You're doing internal reconstruction because you're cleaning up your balance sheet. All the assets and liabilities you're showing at the right value. Even after doing internal reconstruction, still if you show P&L ka loss balance, what sort of reconstruction did you really do? For the sake of this reconstruction only, we are doing all this drama. Yes or no? So that is the reason any P&L balance, no, which is a loss, which we need to write it off. Provided capital reduction account has a enough balance. That is what I wrote in my pointers there. Check. Write off the following using capital reduction account if there is enough balance. One thing I've written here is what? P&L debit. So why you didn't do last problem? Last problem, they did not mention any P&L debit. So I didn't know the value. So I did not cancel. But in this problem, they are clearly saying cancel P&L debit balance of 70,000. Is that okay? Even if they don't mention, we will still need to cancel this. Some problems they will mention, some problems they will not. Still, it's our duty to cancel it. This is okay, people? Okay. In case of any shortfall, they're saying shortfall means in case there is any shortage in capital reduction account, the balance in general reserve 1,50,000 can be utilized to write off the losses. Very, very hypothetical question. First of all, company is a loss-making company. Do you think loss-making company will have other reserves like general reserve and all? Because to make general reserve, CRR, DRR, or any reserve for that matter, from P&L only you create what? Other reserves. If your P&L itself is having a loss, will you make other reserves? So it looks very hypothetical. Just for the sake of examination, they brought in this adjustment to fit in that. Okay, very, very rare. I don't think so. This really fits in the practical scenario of things. Did you understand? Generally, loss-making companies will not have reserve. But don't write this comment. Hey, how can you give losses? Don't question the question. Whatever they have given, take it. Okay, so it's not your duty to question what he has given. Go with the flow, that's all. Okay, show necessary journal entries, that's all. Considering the balance in general reserve has been utilized to write off the losses as per reconstruction scheme. We'll utilize general reserve if required. Can we start with this question, sir? Okay, so general reserve ka balance is 150, sir. He is saying, sir, assume that last 3 years mein company made a loss, so they did not create any general reserve, but before that they had some profit. Using that profit, company had created some general reserve, so take that. Possible. I don't know. Information not missing, in fact. Maybe what you are saying only is what has happened. Okay. All right. Question number 9. Sir, will this question come for 10 marker? Any question or any chapter may any question can be asked for any marks. It can come for 2 marks. It can come even for 20 marker also. Doubtful that 20 marker will come from this topic, but if they really want it, they can phrase it. Don't worry about which chapter, which marks and all that. Institute has more than 20 topics in advanced accounting. They just have 6 questions to ask. They can choose and play whatever way they want. At the end, I will also give you, not now, I will tell you the weightage of each topic, because that weightage is something which is a killer. The students know, you say 2 marks. It's like dandruff. We'll shrug it off. We'll bunk that class on 2 marks. Who will come and listen to his lectures? Yeah. So I will not give you the weightage now. The last day I will share you the each weightage. And weightage generally institute gives in a range, like 5 to 10 mark. Meaning that chapter can come for 5 marks at the lowest. Highest will be for 10 marks. So it's always will be in a range. And this weightage is given by ICAI only. That I'll share it with you in a PDF. Okay. Last day. No. For now, don't worry about exam. For now, the funda is to learn all the concepts. Then we will see the other thing. What? Making fun of me, or you should tell the joke and talk. Even if you're laughing at me, it's okay. You're imitating me, da? How can I do, sir? You have one double voice. How can that be imitated? No worries. Okay, question number 9. Come to that. Weightage. Somebody is saying weightage is available in ICA website. Yes, it is available. Go. If you want to watch it now. Yeah, it is available. Don't worry about weightage. When you're learning all these things, no? When you're learning a subject, examination and all should be kept at last priority. First, now focus on how do we kind of learn the topics properly in the way it should be learned. At the end, don't worry. All the questions needed for examination, chapter wise, I'll cover. You don't have to worry anything about examination. Just follow our material, whatever we are saying. If you follow Pakka, you will clear. Okay. Yes, sir. Follow. Okay. Which books, pa? Partha. Journal entries in the books of Partha Limited. The books of Partha. Okay, first journal entry. What's the first scenario? Furniture from 150, it has to be written down to 95. So the reduction in value is 55. So we know the journal entry already. What is that? Capital reduction account debit. I'll do a compound entry for all the assets reduced. That be okay? Capital reduction to furniture. Furniture, you have to reduce it by 55. How did I get 55? 1,50,000 minus 95,000. Every calculation need not be shown to the examiner. It is okay, but I'll show in the class just in case later on if you have any confusion, you can refer. Basic calculation, it's okay. You can leave it off. Take a time based call there. Okay, then we will see further. Freehold premises whose value was 7 lakh. It showed an appreciation of 55. So it is not decreasing, rather it is increasing. I'm passing the journal entry for the assets reduced. So let that be there. How about plant and machinery? It showed a fall in value of 89,000. So plant and machinery is a reduction. So that means the entry will be capital reduction to plant and machinery, which is 89,000. They have only given the value. Okay. Investments of 2 lakh, which is brought down to market value of 105. From 2 lakh, you have to bring it down to 105. So the reduction in value is 95,000. Investment is again an asset which you need to reduce by crediting 95,000. So that is nothing but what's the value? 2,39,000. No, value was something. From 2 lakh, you have to bring it down to 105. So the reduction is 95. That's how I got. Okay, so I think that's all is asset reduced. So this summation you are saying is how much, sir? 2,39,000. If you add all of this, you're going to get 239. That's the amount of which you need to debit capital reduction by. Narration is simply being assets written off as per reconstruction scheme dated or as per approved reconstruction scheme. That's all, you can leave it, or dated ... you can leave it also. That's also fine. This is the first scenario. Narration, I'll leave it to you now. Would that be okay? Just to say 5 minutes, so that in that 5 minutes, I'll take up another question. In 5 minutes, it is possible to solve an examination question. I'll tell you how to do that on the last day also. Last day, a 10 marker question, we can do it in 5 minutes also. So that means all this 5 minutes which we'll save here and there, we'll utilize. That's the reason. Not because I'm lazy. Don't spread rumors. You'll not write narration only. Crazy guy. Nah. Just to save a little time and to maximize the number of questions. That's all. Be student sometimes, no, can't trust him. Not you. You are gem, all of you. Now you are putting butters. Okay. Next one. The freehold premises which stood at 160. It showed an appreciation of 55. So premises has a debit balance. You need to again increase it by debiting. Freehold premises account debit. How much? 55,000 to capital reduction account of 55,000. Narration simply will be being appreciation of asset recorded or accounted as per, if you want, approved scheme of reconstruction. You can, not a problem, but you only might get into a little bit of entanglements there. Not that you can't do. It's just that mathematically you need to fit in there. That's okay. That's not a problem. The balance will change. Correct. That's okay. It's fine. Okay. Next is what? Debentures ka drama. Debenture holders accepted to receive the following in lieu of their present 9% debenture. Stop what you're doing for a minute. Don't look at the solution. Tell me what will you debit? 9% debentures. I'll give you two options. 9% debentures will be debited or debenture holder account will be debited. Because I gave you the example. You gave some cash to the creditor. The journal entries. Creditors to cash or bank. You gave land and building to the creditor. The entry is creditor to land and building. You are giving the same thing now to the debenture holder. So will you pass the entry debenture holder account debit to cash or bank to land and building blah blah, or will you debit debentures account? Debentures 100%. Why not debenture holder? Oh, one minute. Yes sir. What's your name, sir? Instead of debentures you are allotting. So what's your name, sir? You don't want to tell easily. You forgot it. Take your time, no problem. Somebody else agree with? No, sometimes happens. Vastu problem here now. Vastu is always on the negative side. Don't worry, it happens. I also forget so many things. That's okay. Anything else? Yeah.
Because there are a lot of debenture holders, so we can't write their name. Instead of we put it on account and write debentures.
That's simple. Correct only what you're saying. Absolutely. What here simply happens is, see, what you need to cancel, that you need to be aware of. You might be giving things to what? Debenture holder. Okay. But are you showing debenture holder in your books, or are you showing 9% debenture in your books? When the company issued the debentures, no, to the debenture holders initially, let's say they've issued debentures, what journal entry bank company would have passed? They've issued this debenture to debenture holder only. What's your name? S. Agarwal. Okay, S and Agarwal. To these two people, I am giving debentures. Okay, imagine I'm the company and I'm giving debentures to these two. If it's only two people, I can use their names. Yes, no. Creditor 1, creditor 2, or debenture holder 1, debenture holder 2. Company like Infosys, Tata, Reliance and all. No? Forget about the big companies. When they issue the debentures, hundreds of people will subscribe. Can we call each of them by name? It's obvious that we will forget their names. just kidding. Yeah. And that's not the case. It will become too kind of, tricky. Yes, it's not possible. That's the reason company will always use what? Whenever company has issued shares and debentures and all, no, we will not use shareholder ka name. We will use one fancy name known as, instead of equity shareholder, we will use equity share capital. Instead of preference shareholder, we'll use preference share capital. Instead of debenture holder, it will be that percent debentures. In this case, the percentage is 9%. Hence, all of you are absolutely right. So that means the entry is 9% debenture account debit and not debenture holder. Is this okay? Everybody? Okay. Sir, is that 9% debenture still there or it is gone? The debenture holder is saying, take your old debentures and give me these two things. Whatever still remains, I will sacrifice. So debenture is a liability. Liabilities will have what balance? Credit balance. How do you cancel something which has credit balance? Debiting it. So that means you will debit 9% debentures account debit. That debenture ka value is 250. They clearly told it is rupees 2,50,000. So that means you will debit it to the extent of 2,50,000. Did you pay cash worth 2,50,000? So instead of saying debenture holders to cash, we will write 9% debentures to cash. Or if you have paid it through the banking channel, you will credit bank. Normally, all this will be done through bank. So yeah, how much did you give them? 1/5 of the cash to be paid in cash. Since they've told cash, you can also use the word cash only. So that means this will be 2,50,000 ka 1/5, which will be 50,000. Great. Anything else you gave? Yes, they also told, give me land and building worth 72. So land and building gone means you will credit land and building. And that land building worth was 70. That's all you gave. They said remaining portion we will forego, as in we will sacrifice. So sacrifice portion, you can get it as balancing figure. 250 minus 50 minus 72, which is 1,28,000. That much debenture holders are ready to sacrifice, which will go off to capital reduction account, arrived as a balancing figure. You can simply write being claims or amount sacrificed by debentures account, or you can also say being cash and land etc given to debenture holders accounted as per approved scheme of reconstruction. Those you can build your own words and let that approved scheme of reconstruction at least come in 2 or 3 entries at least. Narration being being claim sacrificed by debenture holders account, being amount sacrificed by debenture holders accounted as per approved scheme of reconstruction. You write 9% debentures written off as per approved. Yeah, that's okay. Narration is fine. Anything is okay. Completely okay. But do write a narration. That's all. What people will not read. Just they will say, have you written something? Okay, that's what is narration. Okay, narrate something. Okay, that is done. Third point. Anything else they're saying? Write off P&L account debit balance. So P&L currently has a debit balance which we need to write off, meaning we need to cancel by crediting it. So debit will be given off to capital reduction account debit. How much is that right of the thing? 70,000. What do you need to cancel?
Profit and loss.
P&L account, because it's a loss making company. So P&L has a debit balance. Narration simply you can write being P&L written off. Yeah.
So they are paying from general account, sir.
1 minute, I'll come to that. And next step, I'm a little slow. One step I'll catch up. So far good? Okay. Sir, do a quick math. Let's do a quick capital reduction account ka ledger. Can do it by simple calculator also. It's better to show to the examiner. Okay, post the entries simply. Here you wrote capital reduction to furniture. So the posting in ledger will be what? Again, format of ledger not required. Simply draw a line and write debit, credit and start doing. That's sufficient. At inter level, final level and all, this level of presentation is good enough. Okay. Format and all is mostly required for your CA foundation, not here. So capital reduction account debit to posting will be here. You'll write to furniture. How much? 55. Then you will write in capital reduction ledger to plant and machinery 89,000. Am I going fast, guys, or is everyone able to keep up? First today, right? So it will take some time for me to catch up. You to catch up with me and me to catch up with you. If there is any problem, you want me to slow down or anything, let me know. Don't ask me to reduce the writing speed, which I will not, because I want you to improve. But the speaking tone, anything, if there's any modification required in terms of slowness and all, that is okay. Feel free to comment. That's not a problem. Then again, we will write to investment 95,000. That's the postings for the first entry. Posting for the second will be in capital reduction. What will you write? In the credit side, you'll write buy freehold premises, and that amount was 55,000. Awesome. Third entry ka posting, which is what is that? Don't write entire 250. How much did we are preparing capital reduction ka ledger. How much did the debentures ready to sacrifice? Only 128. So in capital reduction ledger, you'll write by 9% debentures account, and the sacrifice portion is only 128. That's all, or we did one more. We also wrote off P&L. So the entry is capital reduction to P&L. So in your capital reduction ledger, you will write to P&L 70. How much is that? 70,000. Okay, do the maths. Is the total matching or you're getting any balancing? There is a shortage. This side total 150. Shortage you're saying. Okay, so 55 plus 89 plus 95 plus 70, that gives me about 3,09,000 total this side. That side also should be 3,09,000. 3,09,000 minus 55 minus 128. If I do, I'm getting a balancing figure of 1,26,000. Yes, no? What is this? Should be transferred to capital reserve. Check, sir. 1 minute. Here, excuse me. How much was the sacrifice made? Check how much is the balance in capital reduction account. This one debenture holder sacrificed how much? 128. Check only the credit portion. How much is the credit in capital reduction? 128. Freehold premises also increased. That is a good thing, no? Value is increased. So that means either somebody should sacrifice or one asset ka value should increase. That is a good thing. Yes. So how much asset ka value increased? 55. So do this math. 128 plus 55. 183. Using this 183, you wrote off how much? 230. You had a balance of only 183. How can you write off 239? That means, do you have enough balance in capital reduction account, or do we have any shortage here? Shortage. How much shortage we have here? If there is a surplus in capital reduction, that we transfer to capital reserve. This is a surplus scenario, or is this a shortage scenario? Shortage scenario. That the shortage, the examiner is saying us, if there is a shortage, if case of shortfall, you can utilize general reserve. We have enough balance in general reserve. We have how much in general reserve? 150. We have how much shortage? Only 126. With 150, aram se you can utilize 126. No? Perfect. Here we should write here what? By general reserve. Meaning the balance in general reserve, you're transferring from general reserve to capital reduction. General reserve, like any other reserve, will have a credit balance. If you have to reduce that, you will have to debit. From where to where are you transferring? General reserve to capital reduction. So what will be the journal entry for this? General reserve will reduce. So the entry will be general reserve account debit. You can follow working note number 1. This capital reduction, you can call it as working note number 1. That gives us a shortage. The shortage is 126, arrived as a balancing figure. So 126 we have to transfer from general reserve to where? To capital reduction account. 1,26,000. That's short. You can simply write being amount transferred from general reserve, or being general reserve utilized. Simply like that. Being general reserve utilized. Or you can also write being general reserve utilized as per approved scheme of reconstruction. That is also okay. Somebody is saying, sir, if it is 151, then what you will do? Such question they will not ask. If at all it is 151, then you cannot cancel P&L to the extent of 70. You only cancel to the extent of 69. How much ever balance is there, only that much we can write off. Here, since we had a good balance in general reserve, we utilize that and we cancelled P&L fully. In case there is still a shortage, that will maybe come in next problems. Okay, if there, I hope I've answered that question. Sir, if question remains silent, can we do the same by giving a note or assumption? Yeah. Can we do, you mean to say this one? Yes. Working notes you can present in ledger format, or a simple plus minus format, a statement format, or you can write it in words. Any permutation combination is okay. But I feel you connect better with journals and ledger, so I've given that. If you feel I'm good in writing by words, free to do. Working note, no problem. Any presentation is fine. Problem according to me is over. If you have anything, you can ask. No doubt. Can we do one more and then take a break? Would that be okay with you? Maybe around 15-20 minutes. Sir, if we deduct capital reduction in general reserve, or we add up, sir? No, here what are we doing is, since there is a shortage in capital reduction and we have enough balance in general reserve, from general reserve, we are transferring it to capital reduction. There is a shortage in capital reduction to the extent of 126. So from 126, you are transferring from general reserve to capital reduction. Any reserve will have a credit balance. If you transfer the money, its balance will reduce. Hence, the entry will be general reserve to capital reduction. That is the reason in capital reduction ledger, you have posted as by general reserve. Sir, if you pass P&L account first, then how do we know if there is a 151 case? Okay. That case is only, this entry you should not pass first only. In this problem, why bypassed Bindas? Problem clearly told what? Write off P&L of 70,000. So somebody is saying, sir, if there is a shortage, suppose I have only 50,000 balance. If I have only 50,000 balance, how much P&L can I cancel? How much ever is available, only that much you can cancel. Okay. So how do we know the shortage? That's the reason before you get to this entry, you have to prepare a working note known as capital reduction account. In this problem, I did not prepare because specifically the examiner told, Bindas, you go ahead and write it off. If there is a shortage, use generalism. Again, you are 3-4 steps ahead of. Next problem, I'll catch up. Next problem. Next problem. There is a shortage. You cannot transfer. What to do? Next one. Next one you ask. Still doubt means ask, where am I going? Where are you going? None? Yeah. You are looking for break. I'm looking for next question. So what do we do? Break. Okay. First today, let me listen to you. No problem. Let's take a break for about 20 minutes and come back and resume with the remaining questions. Thank you.